Ms. Esquivel, you are charged with violation of a bond or protective order. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
Yes, Judge. On January 8th, 2025, in Harris County, Texas, the officers were conducting surveillance on the defendant who had active warrants out of the 178th as part of a fugitive task force when they observed the defendant's vehicle parked at a location where the defendant was prohibited from going due to an active protection order. The officers then observed the vehicle drive away, driven by the complainant of the defendant's open case in the 178th. The officers then observed the vehicle to have an expired registration and initiated a traffic stop. The officer then found the defendant hiding in the back seat. Both the complainant and the defendant acknowledged that the defendant was prohibited from the residence.
So she was at the
She was
residence.
at the complainant's residence, yes.
Was she with the complaining
With the
witness
complainant.
as well?
Yes. They
Okay,
were
so
together.
how bad are we talking the ag assault? Do you mind telling me about that?
I'll tell you about the aggravated assault, Your Honor. So in the aggravated assault, the officers were dispatched to a disturbance and they met with the complainant who stated he was involved in a verbal altercation at a bar earlier in the morning. And then once the complainant arrived home, he was locked out of his house and had to force the door open. And that started another disturbance with the defendant. The defendant threw several items at the complainant and the defendant began to strike the complainant on the back of his neck several times with their hands. And the officer observed the complainant to have red scratch marks on his neck. Further, the defendant retrieved a black compact handgun and pointed at the complainant and racked the slide, thereby placing the complainant in fear for his life.
Okay. Ms. Esquivel, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I want you to understand something very, very clear. The Texas Constitution does not allow me but in extremely limited circumstances to hold someone at bond. Zero bond. This is that situation. I'm going to put a protective order naming this person as a protected individual. If you so much as do anything to violate any of these conditions, I can have a hearing to hold you at no bond. And I will do it in a heartbeat to protect every person in my county. Do you understand? You are not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. I'm going to randomly test you. No weapons, no contact with the complaining witness, and no going. I'm assuming, is it a he, she? Well, it doesn't matter. You're not to have any contact. Don't go anywhere where this person lives, works, anything. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't want to talk about the case, but
President, I'm a little
Oh.
confused.
who's your lawyer?
Robert Valles, and he's on my case. He was supposed to be here this morning. I'm a little confused.
Do you know, has Bo said he's going to show? We had no idea that you have a lawyer. Okay, so let's do this. What I can do is I can have you take a seat. We'll wait for him to get here. But regardless, I'm putting these conditions on your bond. I've found that probable cause exists to go forward with your case. The only thing I'm telling you now, don't violate any of these conditions because there are severe consequences.
Yes, Your Honor.
We'll go through it again when your lawyer gets here, but just don't leave until he gets here, okay?
Your Honor.
For now, I'm gonna have you sign a reset with Victoria. We'll have you get signed for your conditions. Just take a seat momentarily. Well, once he gets here, then we'll go through it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Mr. Godfrey. Sir, you are charged with two cases. You're charged with evading arrest or detention. You're also charged with failure to identify oneself, giving fictitious information. On the evading, you are facing up to a year in jail, and on your other case, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On January 6, 2025, officers responded to an assault in progress in Harris County, Texas, and met with the complainant, who reported a young black male involved in an assault. The complainant identified the defendant, and the officers attempted to detain the defendant when the defendant fled when he saw the police. The officer pursued the defendant on foot, and the defendant was located by the officer after approximately 100 yards after attempting to enter another apartment. The officer instructed the defendant to surrender. The defendant then jumped down from a second-story stairwell in an attempt to flee, and the defendant was then apprehended by the officer while the defendant continued to resist. Once detained, the officer attempted to obtain the defendant's date of birth and name. The defendant would not provide a date of birth and give a false name. After multiple attempts, the defendant provided the requested information.
Okay. So was he the one that they were actively investigating?
Yes, because he was identified by the complainant as being involved in an assault, and they tried to investigate and detain him for that assault.
What happened with that?
Let me see if there's any further information about that. So in regard to the original assault, it was determined that no assault occurred, but it was after further investigation.
Sure. Okay. Mr. Godfrey, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with both of your cases. How old are you, sir?
17.
What do you do for a living?
I'm searching for a job right now. I'm gonna work at the warehouse.
Did you graduate from high school?
No, sir.
You need to.
No, sir.
You need to get back into high school.
So that's what I'm working on right now. We working on putting me back in school. I'm getting back on track.
Who are you here with today?
My aunt, she's parking.
She's what?
She's parking. Like she's paying for parking right now.
Is that Aunt? Are you Aunt?
No, sir. She's downstairs. She ain't make it upstairs. I came up here. She's
I'm
looking
gonna
for a
give you a
parking
lawyer.
spot.
I'm gonna give you a lawyer today. I want you to get back in school, and I'm making that a condition of your bond. You have to graduate from high school. You will be in this life. Education is where it starts. If you don't have an education, at the minimum, a high school diploma, you're going to be making pennies to when everybody else is making dollars. Do you understand?
Sir.
So I'll give you a lawyer today. I'm going to have you talk to the lawyer. We're going to figure out how to get you back into school. I'm going to give you 2 to 3 weeks. And when you come back, I want you to show me that you've either enrolled into high school or you started working on your GED. If you've done nothing, it's not going to go well for you. No smoking weed. I'm going to test you. I want to make sure that you're not using as well. Do you understand? I'm sending you for a drug test now because I want to make sure that you're not using. Is that Ann? No? Okay. So can you appoint him a lawyer, please? All right. I'm going to have you sign a receipt with Victoria. I'm going to have you get with pretrial. And I'm going to have you go take a test. I'm going to have you come back. And then I'm going to have a lawyer when you come back. All right? Okay. Good morning, sir. Mr. Lauderdale, you're charged with criminal mischief. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On January 3rd, 2025, the officer was dispatched to a gas station in Harris County, Texas in regard to an assault in progress. The officer made contact with the complainant. The complainant stated the defendant had damaged his vehicle, that the complainant had parked his vehicle at the gas station by the front doors. As the complainant was in the store, he observed the defendant standing by the complainant's motor vehicle with a large rock concrete piece over his head, and the defendant threw the rock, breaking the front of the complainant's windshield, causing $1,000 in damages. The officer observed the large concrete rock sitting on the hood of the complainant's vehicle, and the defendant stated he was upset but did not elaborate.
Mr. Lauderdale, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. You missed court, and I issued a warrant for your arrest. I'm going to recall that warrant now, but if you miss court again, it's not going to go well. Do you understand? Do you need a lawyer? Can I give you a lawyer? I need you to talk to me. Okay. I don't want you to pick up any new cases. I want you to be nice. Do not go back to this McDonald's. Do you understand? Do not go back to this McDonald's.
Your Honor, it's a gas station.
Oh, where is it?
Let me see.
I thought you said it was a
A
McDonald's.
gas station on Belfort Street.
Okay. Please don't go back to this gas station. Do not pick up any new cases. Do not be a danger to my public. Do you understand? Okay. So if you please provide him a lawyer. All right. I'm going to have you take a seat in the jury box while I find you a lawyer. Okay? Please. Yeah. Sit. Can you file those conditions, please?
Yes, Judge.
No weapons, no going back,
Yes, Judge.
no contact with complaining witness. You ready?
Yes.
Hey. Hey, pretty good. We have already given you 2 bonds. If you miss court again, it's not going to happen again. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You were charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
My apologies. On June 29th, 2023 in Harris County, Texas, the complainant told his family of the incident and the family reported it after it had happened. The complainant was with his friend, the friend's mother, and the mother's boyfriend on a trip to Galveston. The defendant became upset at the complainant because he did not like the way he was looking at him. The defendant pulled the complainant out of the car by his shirt, causing red marks on his chest. The defendant proceeded to slap the complainant in the face. The complainant stated he felt pain. Later on, while stopped at a gas station, the defendant became upset again, and the complainant began to walk away when the defendant grabbed the complainant's backpack that was on his back and threw him on the ground, causing pain. The complainant got up and ran away.
Who is that?
The complainant, a 15-year-old, I don't believe it was just a friend of the.
Mr. Chaput, I'm finding that there's probable cause to go forward with the case, and I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to have any contact with this person. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're also not to be in possession of any weapons as well. If you violate these conditions, you pick up a new case or you fail to come again, I'm telling you, your bond will go high. I will protect my community at all costs. I don't care how old they are, how young they are. Do you understand?
Sir.
We've given you a lawyer. It is your responsibility to stay in touch with Hugh. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, likewise, I'll issue a warrant. I'll have you sign a reset. After that, I'll have you meet with the pretrial and then we'll get you out of here, sir.
All right.
All right, Mr. All that.
Right
Yes,
this
sir.
way.